I was asked this question earlier today. How many people are there in the world? And I thought I knew the answer. And I said what I thought the answer was. How many people are there on this planet right now at this precise moment? And how do we know? So, of course, I thought there was about 8 billion, wasn't there? So let's have a look and see what a famous search engine says. Famous search engine says 8,045,311 and 447. It says here, as you can see, the world population in 2023 is that number I said at mid-year, according to a UN estimate. Okay, and then it gives us some other bits and bobs. And I noticed there, look, down here, there is a world population clock. So let's have a little look at that. And it's actually telling us, apparently, how many people there are. It's updated. It's ticking over, showing us that every second, many people are being born. I mean, the rate of kids being born at this moment are quite horrendous. So apparently, according to this, the amount of births there are is 308,460, it's going up all the time. Births this year are across the world, 86 million. So let's have a look. If we go over here, it tells you how many deaths, and not enough deaths to keep up with the births. Less than, just under half, really. And then the population growth and all of that. And this is, I don't know who this is powered by, but as it said here, this is the UN estimates. That's what they're telling you. My question, and the question that was put to me, is, are they right? And how do they know? And how do we know that they know? And are we just there to take it as read that there are 8 billion people in this world? I mean, have you actually thought about it? How do they know? Are they going around counting every head? And how do they keep a tally of it? And is it just an estimate? And who says their estimate is correct? And how do we know any of these sort of numbers? I mean, how many people are actually in the UK at this moment in time? Well, we can go and have a look and we'll be told a number. But do we think that's right? How do we know it's right? The point I'm trying to make, really, is we get told and fed information all the time. Loads of it. You can't help it. People are spouting out the mainstream media, supposedly reliable websites. And I could say something to you, and perhaps a fact checker, not a fat checker, but a fact checker. I mean, I'm sure some of the fact checkers may be fat, and maybe you're not allowed to say that they're fat. Maybe they are, it's all the figures that they've been inflating has made them rather large, a bit like the figures. I don't know, but maybe some of the fact checkers are not actually telling the truth. I mean, they might be, but who checks the fact checkers? And who checks the fact check? No, don't worry about the fact checkers. Let's ignore the fact checkers. But the fact checkers, who checks their facts? And how do we know that the fact checkers or the checkers of the fact checkers are correct either? And where are they getting their information from? And how do we know whether we trust them or not? And of course, this argument, then you could say, well, how do you trust anything? How do you trust anybody that tells you anything unless you've seen it with your eyes? And then you go online and you hear that actually what you see in a quantum world at quantum level is just vibrations. And we're living in a hologram. That's what I've also heard. We're living in a hologram, not a hologram as in, well, I suppose it is, isn't it? It's hollow. It's not actually there. So when we're told, for example, that, I don't know, there's some problem coming our way, a problem in which we might all get a bit, oh golly, can't breathe, getting the sweats again. Didn't we have this about 3 years ago? Oh yes, if I remember rightly. Oh no, matron, it's all coming again. And they're telling us these things. How do we know? I mean, how do we know how many people, oh my goodness, conked out? How do we know how many people conked out the last time before Take Two has happened? By the way, I think I'm calling it Take Two. Somebody said that to me as a joke, and I thought, no, it is. That's what it is, isn't it? It's Take Two. They keep telling us that this is what's happening. Well, maybe it isn't Take Two. Maybe it's none. Maybe it's not a take at all. Maybe if we fall for it, it's a take. But maybe if we go, do you know what? I don't know whether you're actually telling us the truth or not. Maybe you're just making it up. Oh, you're making it up. You're wasting my time. I think most of the time, half of these people in power, these people who think that they own us, these people who think they've ensnared us with their clever legislation and all their sort of nonsense, and the only people they've got to actually act out all of this is their little sort of military force and police people and people in uniforms and all of that, and going, you tell him that there's 8 billion people in the world, and if he won't obey, we'll lock him up. But it still doesn't make it true, does it? Just because we might say, well, actually, I'm questioning that. Is that really true? I mean, you might be wanting to knock a few people out in this world because you think a load of us are useless eaters. And thank you very much. I enjoy eating my food. I'm not useless at all, actually. Might be useless to you, but to other people, I actually do have some use. Just, might only be a small bit, but I do have some use. And thank you very much. Who are you to tell me whether I'm useless or not? Thank you. Coming in here, having a moan. I don't know. So I when Take Two comes along, and we've got that sort of, business about, okay, ladies and gentlemen, lock them up. Here we go, Take Two. It might be that we say, not interested. Not interested. It was a load of rubbish last time. I'm not sure I can trust anything that you've said before. You told us that the little medical thing, the little prick that you gave us, that little prick that you wanted us to have, by all those little pricks that were giving us the little pricks. It may be that actually this time round, not interested in lining up to have another little prick. Thank you very much. I think the last little prick was a bit of a joke. This little prick, Take Two, is also a bit of a joke. How do we trust anything that anybody says? That's the question I want to ask. I mean, they'll tell you stuff. They'll tell you, oh, yeah, you'll get this and you'll get that. And? Really? I mean, to be honest, last time I had a few little colds, coughs and sneezes. Coughs and sneezes spreads diseases, so they tell me. Coughs and sneezes. But it didn't really do very much for me. Now, they may have told you, somebody in a white coat with a stethoscope may have said, oh, I'm ever so sorry, you can't come and see your mother or your father at the moment, or your brother or your sister, or your little niece or your cousin or any of these people, because, there's this thing. But maybe, how do we know? How do we know? They may be making it up. You're making it up. You're wasting my time. It may be that they're just wasting our time with this. And stand by, this disease of the country, Take Two, ping. Might just be a load of old bogus nonsense. And how do we know? So it's over to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, I think we've got noggins this time round, haven't we? We can just go, actually, I think I might question a few things here. I might question everything. We fell for it last time. Yeah, it was great. You know that phrase, once bitten, twice shy. Oh, of course, silly me. You're going to make it more frightening this time. Of course, you've got to make it more frightening, haven't you? You've got to invent things, flying saucers and things like that. You've got to invent all that. We know. You've got to invent all this nonsense. Oh, now it's even more virulent than ever. Oh, blimey. Yes, you're going to be peddling all this nonsense for ages, aren't you? Oh, it's terrible. But the thing is, we've seen it before. It's like now we know it's out in the open. We've watched the movie. We've got the T-shirt. We weren't that impressed with it the first time. And remakes, they're never the same as the original, are they? They're never really the same. You can put them out. Some people will go and watch them. But I don't think really and truly it's going to be a box office success. Sorry.